The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
It's a Monday. We're back live with you on YouTube as we always are, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We're also saying hello to everyone who's watching live from the We Survive Bush, You Will Survive Obama Facebook page, as well as the I Love It When I Wake Up in the Morning and Barack Obama is President Facebook page. What do you think of that, Lewis?
I think they're both gems.
Very good.
Yeah.
We had this vice presidential debate. It was incredible. But before we get to that, I was in New York City over the weekend, Lewis. I went to the New York City Ballet with my girlfriend, and everything was great about it at Lincoln Center, except I find myself so irritated that the only place where you can see New York City Ballet is at the David H. Koch Theater. That's just the name of the place. You can't go anywhere else.
That's a shame. So you contributed to that.
Well, I contributed to the New York City Ballet, which is at the David Koch Theater.
I think there's something there happening that you don't like. Somewhere in that transaction, there's...
Yeah, I don't like it. You're right. It's unavoidable. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the Koch brothers have their names on everything in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very disappointing. Weird thing happened. It was like three different parts, I guess. There were three different performances that were part of the evening. And between each of them, there's intermissions and people walk outside. You know, they have $18 glasses of wine and all that stuff. And you know how you get a playbill at a lot of these things
Right.
when you walk in. Well, I just left it on the armrest between my seat and the woman who was sitting next to me, who I didn't know, who was on one side of me. And when I walk in, I could see about 2 rows down where I was sitting, and she had my playbill in her hand for some reason. Okay. And this was like one of these theater, she was making it widely known to everyone who was within earshot of her that she's here every week and she knows all the dancers and blah, 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 blah. So I walk in and I see that she appears to like switch my playbill with the guy next to her who she was talking to,
Yeah.
and put mine down right away and then like kind of just act like she wasn't doing anything right as I happened to walk in. And then she looked at me awkwardly and I looked at her. And I looked over at my girlfriend. I said, I think this woman just switched my program for some reason. I don't understand what's going on. And I just looked and I said, let me see if that note I made is still in here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because obviously if she switched it, the note's not going to be in there.
Right.
And the note was in there, actually. So she didn't switch it. But for some reason, she was manipulating my playbill, and I wasn't too into that.
Oh, I thought something was actually going to happen there.
No, I will not have my playbill manipulated, and I made that abundantly clear to this woman.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're a big boy.
Thank you. The other weird thing was on the subway, there was, people may not know, I'm from Argentina. And when
There's
you
always
hear,
something weird going on New York subways.
yeah, you can count on it. But this was not what I expected. When you hear someone from Argentina speak Spanish, it's instantly noticeable, okay? Because it's the tonality is very specific. You can tell right away. So a couple walks on and I hear a woman and she's clearly from Argentina. So right away I just say to her in Spanish, oh, you're from Argentina. She says, yeah. Like that. Yeah. And then I say, oh, okay, yeah, so am I. She goes, And then I say, okay, this is getting a little weird. Do you live here? Do you live there? She says, he lives here. I live there. And then clearly disgusted with me approaching her. Now, it's not that common to bump into people from Argentina in different places. If I were traveling somewhere, particularly a country where Spanish is not the most spoken language, and someone comes up to me and says, hey, I recognize that you're from Argentina. I'm from Argentina. I say, oh, that's incredible. What are you doing here? Are you studying here? Do you live here? How did you get here? How long have you been here? When's the last time you were in Argentina? This woman wanted nothing to do with me. This has never happened to me. I mean, literally, I was in Montreal a couple weeks ago. Same thing happened in a crepe shop. I don't know what it's called. A crepe place.
A creperie.
A creperie, exactly. Yeah. And we got into a great conversation. I got the girl's card. We're now in contact via email. You know, it's just this is the natural way it happens with the Argentinian diaspora. Nothing. The woman wanted nothing to do with me.
Well, I think two things. One of two things is happening here. Either she knows who you are, recognized you, and hates you.
Right.
Or this
Unlikely.
is just New York City syndrome.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Natan?
It could be any of a number of things. I mean, on the one hand, in New York, there's probably a lot more people from Argentina, so she's probably not that surprised. On the other hand, maybe she was very self-conscious to be talking in the subway to a stranger, and somebody might have told her, you shouldn't do that, and she was just really paranoid.
Maybe that's the case. Let's get on to the vice presidential debate. Joe Biden had one of the best debate performances that I've seen over the last 20 years. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. I don't remember someone, and I know a lot of people didn't realize this because they were watching, I don't know, I guess they like lies and people drinking a lot of water, but I've never seen someone dominate a debate so definitively, both on style and substance. That's the key, style and substance. Really since, I don't know, I would say since Bill Clinton in '92, 20 years ago. Paul Ryan, why was Paul Ryan so thirsty? That's question number one. Either Joe Biden was making him sweat because he was making him very uncomfortable, or that's how he covers his frustration when he's being completely made a fool out of, or
whatever drugs he took to calm him down before the debate made him really thirsty.
Or lying gives you dry mouth.
Maybe that.
That could be another one.
Yeah.
More lies from Ryan Romney. This time Joe Biden responding instantly saying, that's not true, laughing. We'll get to my commentary about the laughing because the right wing had a lot to say about that. Referring to Paul Ryan as my friend, I thought was good because number one, it's not giving him the credibility of saying congressman, but at the same time, it's not a direct insult, but it's a little bit condescending to keep saying my friend, right? I thought it was a little bit condescending.
A little bit, yeah.
Natan?
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about the word condescending is everyone's using this word in the media to describe Joe Biden's performance.
Right,
And,
well, but I don't agree with that.
I think it was justified. I know you're going to get into this, but I think it was totally justified to be condescending to someone who's essentially being condescending to the entire country.
Right, exactly. What's more offensive? Well, we'll get to that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Paul Ryan following the I don't have enough time to go into the details thing and the it's too complicated to fully explain thing with, listen, I can't describe or discuss anything that involves classified information. So we added a third one to why Paul Ryan can't talk to us about stuff, which is great.
Unbelievable, yeah. No one will hear that and say, oh, well, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we had this issue about the unemployment come up. And Paul Ryan said, do you know was it Scranton, Pennsylvania or Delaware, Natan, that he said, do you know where what the unemployment is in?
Scranton, his Biden's hometown.
Right. Do you know what the unemployment is in Scranton, Pennsylvania? 10%. And do you know what it was when Obama took office? 8.5%. And that's where the whole country's going. Clearly a lie, right? I mean, fine. Scranton, Pennsylvania, unemployment may have gone from 8.5 to 10%. But just look at those numbers that we get every single month. We know that's not the direction the whole country's going. Unemployment rate is going down. Just a lie. It's a lie. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, basically. It's using, well, he sort of lies. I mean, he uses one statistic that is not representative of what's going on overall to try and make people think that what's...
And then he says, this is what's going on in the whole country, which is just not true. And then Joe Biden...
Hold on.
Yeah.
That may be true, because I'm sure there are several towns all over the country that have rising unemployment rates.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
See?
So we may be amiss, but clearly deceptive to say the least.
Incredibly deceptive.
And then I liked when Joe Biden said, the Republicans are now seized with concern over the debt they created with the 2 wars and tax cuts for the rich. This is how to talk about this deficit question. Because let's be honest, there was no concern about this when George W. Bush was ringing up the debt with these wars.
Right. Let's also mention that Barack Obama extended those tax cuts.
Yes, he did, which I didn't think was a good idea at the time.
Right.
And also pointing out, Joe Biden, that Paul Ryan, for all of his talk against the stimulus, he was asking for stimulus money, which was really great. And being very direct, saying the ideas are old and their ideas are bad. I thought he did really, really well. 3 times, again, during this debate, Paul Ryan asked, which specifically of those tax loopholes are you going to close? And 3 times, he just talked about someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, rather.
Right.
What can you do?
Let's just, one thing. I just want to make the point that Martha Raddatz was a great moderator. She did exactly what we wanted Jim Lehrer to do in the first debate, which is call the candidates out when they're saying things that make no sense.
Completely agree. And she was criticized for being too involved or interrupting or whatever. And I get this idea the moderator should stay out of the way, but look what happened when Jim Lehrer stayed out of the way. It was a disaster.
No, you can't let them stay out of the way because then these people do whatever they want and they'd never answer any questions.
2 other things. At the end, Martha Raddatz asked, what are you uniquely qualified to bring that nobody else can? And Paul Ryan said, honesty.
Wow, you lie for an hour and then say that.
He finished lying his way through a debate. And of all the things that he is uniquely qualified to bring, he tries to make the case that honesty is the thing only he could bring. And then also, at the end, there was this question about abortion. I don't know if you remember that, Lewis. And Paul Ryan said, basically, yeah, I think abortion decisions should not be made by unelected judges, but should be made by people through their elected representatives. Okay? Paul Ryan is saying politicians should decide what women can do at the doctor's office. He's admitting that. How can anyone vote for him?
Because he says it in a way that might be a little confusing.
Well, hold on. I would give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's saying that the will of the people should be respected when we talk about rights to choice, which I completely disagree with. I think that with issues like this, we shouldn't go with the will of the majority.
Okay, well, in either case, I completely disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what he's making it sound as if these politicians accurately represent the will of their constituents.
Right.
They don't.
Let's talk about the people who were offended, okay? There was all this talk about Joe Biden was laughing. Chris Wallace, I've never seen a candidate as disrespectful as Joe Biden. Gloria Borger on CNN, he came off as condescending. Britt Hume, he's a cranky old man. Here's my thought on this, and I was on right-wing radio on Friday talking about this, debating it with a bunch of different people. The idea that just because a politician says something, we can't laugh or we can't say that's not true is ridiculous. What's more offensive? Lying to the vice president or laughing when a congressman lies? Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. This idea that Joe Biden is doing something, it's political correctness, it's nonsense. And let's take it a step further. 4 years of the Republican Party calling President Obama a Kenyan, a Muslim, baby-killing, gay, communist, Englishman, socialist, Marxist, radical, who hates America, hates Christianity. The right wing now all of a sudden is aghast that Joe Biden laughed during a debate when he was being lied to. What an incredibly offensive thing he did. Give me a break. Give me a break, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, perhaps he just genuinely found what Ryan was lying about to be funny. Is it not okay to have a genuine reaction to something and laugh?
It's perfectly fine. He was being frank. He was being upfront. And Paul Ryan was lying to people. Let's forget about this idea. You can't laugh when a congressman speaks. Give me a break. Stop lying to the VP. Then we'll talk about what's offensive and what's not. Gretchen Carlson was upset about the lying. And, or rather, she wasn't upset about the lying. She was upset about the laughing. And she suggested, well, maybe Paul Ryan just should have decked Joe Biden. Huh. Interesting. Here's video from Media Matters about this. This is some incredible stuff, Lewis. Okay, I don't know if we have that video. Let's take a look. I think we do.
If for some reason you missed the interrupt-a-thon, we've got a little bit of it to give you a good idea what it was like for 90 minutes.
We agreed with the Obama administration. Let's have a status of forces agreement to make sure that we secure our gains. Now we have them in place because of Congress. Right. Thank heavens we have these sanctions in place. It's in spite of their opposition.
Oh, God.
Did they come in and inherit a tough situation? Absolutely. But we're going in the wrong direction.
Nobody is
Mr. Vice President,
down.
I know,
no, this
Mr. Vice President, I know you're under a lot of duress to make up for lost ground. But I think people will be better served if we don't keep interrupting each other. It's been done before. It's precisely what we're proposing.
It has never been done before.
It's been done a couple of times, actually.
It has never been
Jack
done
Kennedy
before.
lowered tax rates, increased growth. Ronald Reagan.
Now you're Jack Kennedy.
Have you ever felt that way? Deck somebody? I mean,
okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
Lewis
I think
turning the volume down at the exact key moment that we're trying to get to. Okay,
Oh,
let's go
now
back.
you're
Lewis.
Jack
Let's keep
Kennedy.
the volume up this time.
Have you ever felt that way where you just want to deck somebody? I mean, I'm sorry. I think if you're Paul Ryan last night, that's how you feel because...
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Fox News crying is a direct indication that America wins. If Fox News is crying about something, that makes me think it's a really good thing.
Victory.
It's exactly. And wah, wah, wah from Gretchen Carlson. Oh, do you ever want to deck somebody? I mean, really, that's what it makes me want to do. Give me a break. The guy was lying. Joe Biden laughed right in his face and said, you're not telling the truth. And that's the reality, Lewis.
Yeah. I think it's incredibly effective.
Very good.
Yeah.
Here's something interesting. Chris Matthews was interviewing a Biden, I guess an Obama-Biden supporter before the VP debate in Kentucky. And a woman yells out, communist! So what does Chris Matthews do? He goes over and he actually interviews her. And the woman's got no idea what case she can make for Obama being a communist. I mean, literally, she can't say one thing. This is brilliant, viral on YouTube, 2-3 million views. Love this. Check this out.
Who are you and why are you here?
I'm Ann Williams. I'm here supporting Obama.
Tell me about your health care situation.
There we go.
We are an example of somebody. My husband and I have 6 children. We
Well,
have
let's
worked
go talk
hard
to
our
that
whole
woman.
lives,
Let's go
and
see
at
what
the
she
end
had
of
to say.
June,
Why
my
don't we,
husband
Louis?
lost his job, and for the first time in our whole lives, we are without health insurance.
Okay, let's get back to this lady. Who said communist down here?
Here we go.
What did you mean by that?
Well, all you have to do is study it out. Just study it out, and you'll see. You haven't done your homework, buddy.
And what do I need to
Go
study?
to somebody else. He's a communist, and those of us who are not voting for him know it.
And what do you mean by communist?
You don't know?
No, just tell me. Help me out here.
You don't know?
I just want to know what you mean.
Oh, I know what I mean.
Well, help us out. You're on national television.
Oh, I know I'm on national television.
Well, tell me what you mean when you just accuse a guy of being a communist. You think he's
You
an
just
American?
study it out.
Is he an American?
Oh, no.
He's not an American.
No.
What is he? What country is he from?
Just because he was born here doesn't mean that he thinks like us. He's a communist, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
Incredible. Incredible. This is one of the best pieces of video we've had. I don't even know where to start with this. What's worse? But speaking of national TV, Paul Ryan's performance or this woman's?
This woman's.
You think so?
You got to understand that this is exactly how someone like Mitt Romney has a shot at president. This is how something like the Tea Party comes to fruition and builds momentum.
That's the thing. That's the thing I thought exactly.
Tens
it's sad.
of millions of people, exactly like this woman, who do not actually think about anything and just take in whatever someone tells them. That's it.
That's the sad thing. Yeah, Natan.
You know what the funniest thing about the whole thing is, though? If you get Romney and Ryan together in a room in private and were able to record their conversation watching this woman in this video, they would laugh hysterically at her as being a complete nitwit. That is the biggest irony of all.
People don't get the Republicans are laughing all the way into elected office because of morons like this woman. That's the incredible thing. What do you mean by communist? Study it out. You haven't done your homework. We all know. We all know. And then he's not like us. He's not like us. Again, us who? Us who? Really, who is us?
She sounds like she's just repeating exactly what Rush said on some random show.
You would think at least Rush would make up some reasons why he's a communist. This woman doesn't even have that. It's very sad.
I mean, normally what I would do in a situation like this, if someone says that in and around me, I will say, what's a communist?
Right.
Define communism.
Exactly. And you remember, we've had so-called experts, people that are pitched to us on the show as experts, come on the show to talk about Obamacare and say that it's communist. And I just asked them, what exactly is communist about forcing people to buy services from a for-profit company? Well, I mean, but the government, right? I mean, so it's not weird that this woman can't even stand up to Chris Matthews because even so-called experts about why Obama's a communist don't really have any reasons.
Right.
Incredible.
And I'm sure they're completely unaware that there are also several types of communism, but
sure, of course.
we can't get into that.
Real quick, book recommendation. Monday book recommendation made possible in part by A Fashion of Bastards, Joanna Louise Johnson's best-selling satire about Washington's power players and their misuse of America's natural resources, of course, on Amazon.com. Here's a very good book I want to recommend. One of my favorites, I must say. Read it years ago. Neil Stephenson's Zodiac. It's from 1988. It's a thriller. It's like an environmental thriller. It has elements of environmental hipsterism, and it is also a really well-written thriller from someone who really typically writes stuff that is a completely different genre. So I really like this book. It is about eco-terrorism, eco-thriller. It's very, very good. It's a quick read. One of my favorites by Neil Stephenson for sure. Check it out. We'll take a break. Plenty more coming up after the break. Stay tuned.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com. Welcome back to The David Pakman Show.
Please support The David Pakman Show by doing all of your Amazon.com shopping through the black banner at davidpakman.com. You click it, you bookmark it, use it whenever you shop at Amazon, even for the stuff you already buy, and you'll send 7% of your purchase to The David Pakman Show instead of to Amazon. You can also become a David Pakman Show member, made possible in part by liberalbias.com. Louis, top secret data has been unearthed on a website that shows global warming is worse in Massachusetts than it is in Texas. Obviously, evidence of a liberal plot to create global warming and blame it on conservatives. That website is liberalbias.com.
Indeed.
Today's new member of the day, Joseph Givens. Joseph Givens is a great guy. It's excellent to have Joseph on board. Thanks to Joseph and all David Pakman Show members. We are mostly funded by individual memberships. Mitt Romney is doubling down on this claim that uninsured Americans can get the care they need in emergency rooms. He said, we don't have people who die because they don't have insurance. Now, of course, we know that people do die because they don't have insurance. Emergency rooms really are a place of last resort, only needing to stabilize patients to the most minimum degree. 45,000 Americans die every year because they lack health insurance. That's 1 American every 12 minutes. Uninsured adults under age 65 are at a 40% higher death risk. Hospitals can treat patients for emergency medical conditions, regardless of whether they can pay or not. But anybody with a chronic condition or anything that doesn't require an emergency intervention often can't access needed care. Does Mitt Romney know this and he's lying, or is he really this uninformed?
He knows all about this. I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to do here. Make it seem like, I mean, how does everyone not know that he's contradicting himself here when he's talking about money? And when he's talking about getting a free ride, and when he's talking about how this is covered under Obamacare, how this is different under his plan, how this is different under what he wants to do.
We've also talked so many times about how uninsured people go into the emergency room is not a good thing. The fact that uninsured people can go to an emergency room is the problem, and Mitt Romney talks about it, as he did on 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago, like it's some kind of solution, which is absurd. And now, let's talk about Romney's health care proposal. 72 million Americans would be without health insurance. And it also wouldn't provide all uninsured Americans with any stable source of insurance. We know that Mitt Romney's health care ideas are morally bankrupt, but also, given the debt implications of Obamacare, which would reduce the debt over a 10-year period, are also actually bad for the economy. It's bad for everybody.
Right. I mean, does Mitt Romney want 30 million people going to emergency rooms and having everyone else pay for it? I don't know. It sounds like it.
It's very, very odd that he's still saying this, and I really can't imagine why anybody would believe even a second of it. This is really interesting. We've now gotten a chance to look through John McCain's files, his research files from 2008, when he was considering whether Mitt Romney could be a good running mate. Now, of course, as we know, he eventually chose Sarah Palin. Why? Session on Daily Kos sent me this great write-up where she actually went through and looked at the entire research file on Mitt Romney. And it's incredible because all of this stuff, forget about reasons not to have Romney as your Republican running mate. These are reasons nobody should even vote for the guy. And it goes through. I encourage people to check it out. We're gonna try to link to it actually from our YouTube clip on this. Spending, of course, Mitt Romney talking about his credentials on spending. Okay, well, for example, here in Massachusetts, under Governor Romney, state spending increased by more than 24%. That's an annual increase of 8%. Interesting. He considers himself the guy that will stop spending.
Right.
What do you think?
No surprise.
Another famous Romney line. He didn't increase taxes when he was governor here in Massachusetts. Well, what we know, what I've been saying for a long time, Romney imposed hundreds of millions of dollars in fee increases affecting virtually everyone while insisting they were not new taxes. Even for Republicans who want their guns, Romney raised gun licensing fees by 400%. No new taxes, just a regressive tax that increases the gun licensing fee. Regressive tax, ladies and gentlemen. And none of this information is new, but what's interesting is that McCain didn't go with Romney because of this stuff. And now we're to believe Republicans think he makes a good candidate? It's incredible. It really is incredible.
Well, the funny thing is that Romney would have been a much better candidate than Palin.
Exactly. Well, that in retrospect, we now know that. On abortion, and we know about this, this is straight from the McCain research. During his political career, Romney has been pro-choice, then not pro-choice, then pro-choice again, and now claims to be pro-life. And this is public information now. You can check it out. The last part is brilliant on his flip-flops. The Reagan legacy. Romney distanced from Reagan in '94, and now he claims Reagan is his hero. On the Second Amendment, Romney once bragged of opposing the NRA, And now he promises not to chip away at gun laws, but wants the NRA's endorsement. On every single one of these, flip-flop after flip-flop. Let's pick another random one. Stem cell research, Lewis. Why? How about that?
Sure.
Romney once endorsed embryonic stem cell research and promised to work and fight for it before opposing embryonic stem cell research. Flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. Remember, John Kerry. I voted for it before I was against it. Nuanced, not actually a flip-flop explanation for why he changed his view. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 issues on which Romney has flip-flopped not once, but multiple times. He's not a flip-flopper, apparently. Republicans are fine with his changing of opinions.
Unreal.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Who's undecided right now? It's shocking to me that we could still have undecided voters at this point. And I understand we've talked about the minutia of the polling and are we really seeing enthusiasm changes versus people switching their vote. But how can you honestly sit there like some of those people did last week after the VP debate? And I want to get both of you guys' thoughts on this. And say, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. It's very easy at this point. I mean, it's basic issues. Do you believe women should earn the same amount as men and should be able to make decisions for themselves about what medical procedures are right for them? If you believe that, clearly the vote is for Obama. If you think that abortion, for example, should be decided by politicians, and you don't care about a legal system which ensures that women get paid the same for the same work, you vote for Romney. It's very, very clear. How is a debate performance? How is Biden smiling or Obama grimacing or Paul Ryan drinking water? How is any of that going to change? You know what? I believe this on abortion, but what the hell? Biden smiled. I'm going to vote for Paul Ryan. What about government helping businesses and with health insurance? If you believe the government should provide some basic level of health care, and should get involved when, for example, the auto companies were going to go bankrupt, and now GM is alive, as we have so much heard. If you agree with that, you vote for Obama. If you don't want that, then you vote for Romney. How can you be undecided right now?
Yeah, but like the woman we just saw the video of earlier in the show, as strange as I think it is that there are undecided voters, I'm glad there are undecided voters because at least that means that they are thinking about it, at least somewhat. At least something a candidate does will influence them. Whereas there are millions and millions of people who are just going to vote for Romney just because. And
you're making an interesting point.
There are people on the other side too. There are people who are going to vote for Obama just because.
It's an interesting point. Natan, what would you say about this?
The evidence shows that a lot of undecided voters actually don't pay any attention to politics and are the ones that least watch the debates. So I don't know how they're going to finally decide how they vote if they don't even consume media.
That's the thing.
But the statistics show that in this election there are very few undecided voters. Most of everybody have made up their minds already.
Do you believe in science as a framework for knowledge? If so, you vote for Obama. If you don't, then you vote for Romney. It's simple.
If you believe in corporations as your framework.
If you believe corporations are people, you vote for Romney. All right, let's take a break. Facebook.com/David Pakman Show. Get yourself a t-shirt or sweatshirt at davidpakman.com/gear. Take a break. Plenty more after this. Stay tuned.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com. Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Make sure you're subscribed to our new YouTube channel, youtube.com/TDPS interviews. We're putting up all of our great interviews, including some of the full unedited versions that never made it onto the regular show, as well as some interviews that predate the TV era of the David Pakman Show. So youtube.com/TDPS interviews. Make sure to subscribe. A drunk woman attempted to avoid an arrest by claiming she's a Republican. This is a really weird thing to do. This is a story from our friend Lou Colagiovanni over at The Examiner, of course, also from the We Survive Bush, You'll Survive Obama page. The drunken incident took place at a P.F. Chang's in Des Moines, Iowa. And Charlene Hunziker, 47 years old, who claimed to be a Republican, began belligerently yelling about politics and had to be removed from the premises by police, had too much to drink, and then decided to bellow loudly to customers about the virtues of voting for Mitt Romney and that President Obama was ruining our country. The incident was not captured on video, unfortunately, but her demeanor made customers call the police for fear of their safety. The encounter was reported locally by KITV.com. When police showed up, Hunziker told them they didn't need to be there because she's a Republican. Police were forced to physically remove the drunken Republican who allegedly said she was doing this because she was a good mother. She was arrested for public intoxication and booked into Polk County Jail. Great family values, wouldn't you say? You do it for the kids. You get completely wasted at a P.F. Chang's and start being rambunctious and then tell the police you're only doing this because you're a good mother and you can't arrest her because she's a Republican.
Why is it that there are never stories about someone going on a drunken rampage promoting Obama?
Well, because of the liberal media, they cover that up.
Ah, yes.
I'm sure Hunziker's children were very proud of their mother's civic activities, wouldn't you say?
Hopefully they're too young to remember this.
What's funny is liberals are the entitled ones, but she thinks she shouldn't get arrested because she's a Republican.
Is she a sovereign nation?
She is, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a non-taxable prepositional phrase, actually, to quote David Wynn Miller.
Right.
Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, of course, are claiming this is a liberal conspiracy to arrest Republican moms. Of course, Obama's behind it, as well as George Soros.
I'm sure she was in direct contact with the president and had this all planned out.
Of course. Hey, if you were wondering, I've been waiting to hear who Lindsay Lohan was going to vote for. She will be voting for Mitt Romney, Lewis. I know you're very worried about that.
She's still alive?
She's still alive.
Huh.
When E! News asked Lindsay Lohan if she was keeping up with the election, she said, I just think employment is really important right now. I don't know what that means.
She was talking about herself.
Yeah, I guess she's talking about herself. And then she followed up with, so as of now, Mitt Romney, as of now. The endorsement comes a month after she tweeted for the president. What did she tweet exactly? She wanted the president to cut taxes. She tweeted that the president should cut taxes for those who need it, middle-class families and small businesses, and even those that are listed on Forbes as millionaires. Well, good. So Mitt Romney has Lindsay Lohan, Ted Nugent, I guess John Voight, and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good,
That's like the fearsome foursome.
pretty good cadre there.
Yeah.
Lewis, actually, you should vote to counteract Lindsay Lohan's vote. Now, I know that neither vote will make a difference electorally, you voting in Massachusetts, she presumably in California. But in the popular vote, you have the specific ability, Lewis, to cancel out Lindsay Lohan voting for Mitt Romney.
How about I just call her a piece of crap on the air and we call it even?
No, that would be horrible. We don't do that type of thing on the show.
We just did.
Oops. Was that live? Are we? Oh, sorry.
It's like Bob Beckel on Fox News where he swore. And then Hannity's like, Bob, we're live. And then he's like, what? That wasn't live. What are you talking about?
Yeah, just, no. Didn't happen.
It's a weird clip. If you haven't seen it, look it up.
Anyway, Lindsay Lohan's a terrible person.
You think that deep down she's a terrible person?
But you know what? She's probably got a lot of money. So why wouldn't she vote for Mitt Romney?
Ah.
Right?
Yeah, but most of Hollywood.
She's one of those. She might be one of those people listed on Forbes as a millionaire.
Most of Hollywood has a lot of money. Most of them are voting for Obama.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, Dave.
Maybe she's just not that smart. I don't know.
Who knows?
Or maybe she's I don't know what to say. Anyway, let me put all of everyone's fears aside. I know everybody was waiting for Lindsay Lohan to come out and say I will support Obama or Romney, and it is going to be Romney. A McDonald's owner refused to turn off Fox News because a customer wasn't loving it, for lack of a better term. Craig Lechner visited the Fairlawn McDonald's this week to reward his 3-year-old daughter with a Happy Meal. Probably not the right type of reward that I would give my kid, but let's put that aside. He asked the owner to turn off Fox News because he says, listen, Fox News broadcast a man killing himself by shooting himself just weeks ago. I don't want my kids having this stuff on. They're talking about war, so on and so forth. This is not for my kids. And then he went up to the owner and he said, I want you to put something else on. And the owner said, no. We actually have video of the conversation. Let's take a look at this, Lewis. Pretty compelling stuff.
Excuse me, you're the owner here? Do you still refuse to turn this off? They're talking about war and people getting killed. No, you listen. I'm asking you to turn it off. Okay, well, that's fun. You are the owner of this McDonald's, right? I can't wait to put this in Huffington Post. Here we go, talking about war in the news, and this guy don't want to turn it off. All right.
Okay, so then rumors started circulating about the possibility that the reason this is happening at more than one McDonald's is that Fox News is actually paying for the TVs that go in McDonald's I was not able to find any evidence of that. So if somebody has that, please send it to me. I can't report that. I've not found any evidence that that's true. It's a good question that came up as a result of this, which was, what if McDonald's was showing porn, right? McDonald's corporate said, we don't control what's on the TVs at McDonald's restaurants, and they can show whatever they want. These are franchises. Whatever they want to show, they can show. What if it was porn? You'd think that McDonald's would do something if you were saying, listen, they're showing porn. Is there really a difference if you're showing a channel that shows people killing themselves, as Fox News accidentally did a couple of weeks ago? I don't know. You know what? It is this guy's business. He can show whatever he wants. That being said, don't go to this guy's business. By the way, why are you going to McDonald's anyway? The real question for me is, if this Craig Lechner is so concerned about his kids being raised properly by not seeing Fox News, don't feed them McDonald's food would also be pretty high up on the list. Who am I to say, Lewis?
Yeah. Seems really far-fetched that Fox is putting TVs in McDonald's.
Yeah.
But
they can put whatever they want on TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically, you've got a place where there's kids there all the time. I mean, regardless of your political beliefs, you probably just shouldn't be airing something of that nature.
And parents should be aware, if there may be violence on TV, maybe McDonald's isn't the best place. And you know what? They'll probably be healthier for it as well.
Yeah. I mean, forget about what's on TV. No one should be eating that.
Republican Senate candidate Tommy Thompson had his son Jason Thompson do a little bit of a speech at one of the campaign events. And he said, let's send Obama back to Chicago or Kenya. Take a listen.
We have an opportunity to save America, to hire Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, fire Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
We have the opportunity to send President Obama back to Chicago or Kenya.
What a funny guy. I never thought about that. Instead of sending Obama back to Chicago, we'll send him back to Kenya because obviously that's where he's from. Yeah, of course.
Very funny.
Very, very funny
Great
stuff.
material.
Really, whoever's writing this stuff is really good. Next thing you know, Sheriff Joe Arpaio is going to be doing a song and dance at these Tommy Thompson events.
Yeah. That's scary.
Yeah, scary stuff for sure. But that's plenty more to come on that front.
I want to see him tango with Chris Christie.
That would be good.
Right?
Together, that would be epic. All right, let's take a break. Coming up after the break, we will talk about Felix Baumgartner's record-setting stratosphere jump and people saying it doesn't make any difference, and we'll talk about why it is an important thing, scientifically. Stay tuned, back after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com. The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
The show doesn't end when the show ends. Producer Louis Motamedi hosts, scripts, directs, writes, and produces the David Pakman Show bonus show. Today on the bonus show, we'll talk about selling drugs on Facebook and Craigslist. We'll also talk about trading cocaine for votes. It's incredible where that's going on. Get the bonus show by being a David Pakman Show member at davidpakman.com/membership. Here's an interesting story, Louis. Of course, everybody is aware of the Felix Baumgartner, I guess it's called the Red Bull Stratos jump, also known as the record-setting stratosphere jump, where Felix Baumgartner went up in a helium balloon and jumped from about 24 miles up. This is being considered a big deal by some, and it's also being considered nonsense by others. Here's a little bit of video of him in the free fall where the parachute opens for our television audience. Let's take a look here. He's, of course, dropping here. And once he gets to there we go. The parachute opens, and he continues on down. I actually watched the entire video. It's a little bit repetitive at times, but certainly compelling. And then we also have a little bit of video here, Louis, of the actual landing that took place, which is incredible, from 24 miles up to landing very, very softly. Take a look at this.
Certainly got the highest jump mark that he was after. We'll find out about the Mach. Did he break the speed of sound as he hoped? Here he's coming. And there you can see by the approaching shadow, he's just about there, and he's down.
So there it is, the big landing. So after a couple of failed attempts, it finally happened. I think this is cool, but then the question is, well, what's the value of this in terms of research? I mean, there are a lot of research purposes for this. Number one, quickly changing air pressurization when you're coming through. You know, that could be relevant in terms of commercial airline flights. What about life support systems for people who are very high up? Or what if you actually had to abort some kind of a space trip? Could you possibly eject? I mean, I can think of a lot of different things, right?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest tests here was to possibly have someone land on another planet by jumping from the stratosphere or close to it, and not having an aircraft need to land on the planet, which, of course, would be a lot more expensive. There's a lot more involved when that happens. So I think in the distant future, hopefully not too distant future, that could have practical applications as far as colonizing and landing on other planets.
Natan, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the scientific applications are important, but also I think it's just as important, if not a lot more so, just the fact that, 8 million people viewed this on YouTube Live, millions more are hearing about this. And this is the type of thing that gets kids interested in science. They start associating science with excitement, and they want to get into engineering, and they start to say, I want to work for NASA. So this is exactly what a country where a significant chunk of the population doesn't believe in evolution and we're, lagging behind green energy solutions to China, this is exactly the type of thing we need.
Absolutely agreed.
Good stuff.
Let's go to your voicemails. You can call our voicemail line 24 hours a day. The phone number is 219-2-DAVID-P. Here was a voicemail that had promise, but for whatever reason was not able to be completed. Take a listen.
Hey, David Pakman. This is Richard Campbell. And I'd like to say that I really like your show. You're probably my favorite online political show, even above the Young Turks.
Wow.
And I'd like to say something about the grin that...
Very good. So I guess he was referring to the Joe Biden grin, but we didn't get to hear exactly what. And then we got another voicemail here about the evolution and embryology are from the pit of hell comment. Let's take a listen to that.
Hello, David. Love your show. I was just watching the episode. I don't know when you taped it this week, but it featured the brilliant Dr. Brown, the representative on the science committee.
Right.
That has some backwards evolutionary thoughts and embryonic thoughts. Isn't he on the same committee as that gentleman that believes in legitimate rape and the fact that females can't get impregnated?
Yeah, it is. He's referring, of course, to Todd Akin. They're both on the science committee. So now really what we have is Paul Brown thinks evolution and embryology are from the pit of hell. Todd Akin believes that if a woman is not legitimately raped, her body is able to just shut down the whole pregnancy, just as a matter of fact. Those two guys are on the science committee for this country.
Perhaps they thought it was the anti-science committee.
Yeah.
Maybe they just got confused.
Well, that's the thing. If it's not a legitimate science committee, in part because these guys are on it, all research projects just are naturally shut down. The whole thing shuts down.
Yeah.
Incredible. And then here's the Eggman weighing in. Let's take a listen to that.
Hello, the David Pakman Show. I have a comment to make about the story where the police officer shot the naked tripping dude.
Right.
I think it's the media that caused the fear in the police officer's mind and made him shoot the guy. If the media wasn't talking about zombies and the zombie apocalypse and the bath salt zombies eating people and all this media hype about zombies and the zombie apocalypse, the stupid cop wouldn't have shot the naked tripping dude. I believe the police officer thought he was a zombie. That's all. Tom, Luis, David, shalom, brothers. Later.
There's more.
Dave, huh? Hey, how come Ryan had to drink 4 full glasses of water and Joe didn't even drink 1 sip? I wonder why, huh? It's hard to lie. You get a real dry mouth. I love you guys, man. Filibuster the machine. Bye.
All right, so Filibuster the Machine, apparently the new calling card of the Eggman. I don't know what to think about that.
We got to wrap it up, but he's right. I think the cop was definitely afraid that this guy was going to gnaw his face.
He's making a good point. The media coverage about it is making people scared. Please become a David Pakman Show member. Pennies a day, you support the show, you get the bonus show, commercial-free video, the archive, all sorts of different stuff. DavidPakman.com/membership. See you tomorrow.
DavidPakman.com.